Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamutiraye. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patithanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So today we are discussing from Bhagavad Gita, 4th chapter, 38th verse, and it speaks about Gyan. Nahi Jnanena Sadrisham Pavitram Iham Vidyate Tvatsvayam Yoga Samsiddha Kalenatmani Vindati. So, Bhagavad Gita 4.38. And the word-to-word meanings are na, nothing, he, certainly, jnanena, with knowledge, sadrisham, in comparison, pavitram, sanctified, iha, in this world, vidyate, exist, tat, that, swayam, himself, yoga, in devotion, samsiddhaha, who is mature, kalena, in course of time, atmani, in himself, vindati, he enjoys. And the translation, in this world, there is nothing so sublime and pure as transcendental knowledge. Such knowledge is the mature fruit of all mysticism. Anyone who has become accomplished in the practice of devotional service, this knowledge within himself, enjoys this knowledge within himself in due course of time. Purport. So Prabhupada has given a very short purport. When we speak of transcendental knowledge, we do so in terms of spiritual understanding. As such, there is nothing so sublime and pure as transcendental knowledge. Ignorance is the cause of our bondage, and ignorance is the cause of and knowledge is the cause of our liberation. This knowledge is the mature fruit of devotional service. And when one is situated in transcendental knowledge, he need not search for peace elsewhere, for he enjoys peace within himself. In other words, this knowledge and peace culminate in Krishna consciousness. This is the last word in Bhagavad Gita. So, Hare Krishna to all of you. And This is a nice shloka from Srimad Bhagavad Gita, 4th chapter, 38th shloka. Speaks about knowledge, and that too especially about transcendental knowledge. Srila Prabhupada has named, in one of his lectures, he spoke that knowledge is like sword. That is why you can find a book in Bhaktivedanta Book Trust, a compilation of Srila Prabhupada's words, and it is named the sword of knowledge. Knowledge is like a sword which can cut the material bondages. There is no other way by which a person can free himself from the material attachments. The material attachments are like a root of banyan trees. Not from this lifetime alone. We have attachments from many, many lifetimes continuing. Somewhere else it is written, it is said, sometimes the spiritual souls appear in a group and they keep coming again and again and again. So the attachment continues. For example, you can see Surya and Indra again took birth as Bali and Sugriva. Then again their portions took birth. Surya's portion took birth as Karna, and Indra's portion took birth as Arjuna. In Srimad Bhagavatam, Vamanamurti is blessing Mahabali, King Mahabali, that you will be the next Indra. So you see, the attachment what we experience in this lifetime is not only from this lifetime. It continues for janma after janma. Very, very difficult sometimes to detach those bondages. Not so easy. Even though sometimes our intelligence says that this is not very good, still mind is weaker and intelligence is also weak. Helplessly the Atma performs. Once a great scholar said, the mistakes which we commit knowingly are more than the mistakes we commit unknowingly. Generally, we say, so sorry, I didn't realize it. I did unknowingly, so please, forgive me. But actually, that percentage of mistake is very less. In this material world, we are very weak and we commit mistakes knowingly again and again. Then after some time, it becomes our habit and helplessly we fail. So every Jivatma is weak in one or two particular area, and he helplessly commits again and again and again. In Mahabharata, Dhritarashtra is a very good example for that. The blind attachment he had for his sons, especially Duryodhana. Even though very well he knew that certain things are not supposed to be done. In the game of dice, when Draupadi was disrobed, doesn't mean he doesn't know all that. He knew very well that these things are not fair. They are doing, cheating against Pandavas. And he is simply keeping quiet. But the attachment is so strong that he could not overcome. His intelligence became very weak, covered by the illusion of attachment. And we also have that to a certain degree. Given in one of the talks by a scholar, a group of 20 people, they were sailing on a boat, and they got stuck in a storm and heavy thunder and unruly wind, and climate was very bad to sail maybe a small ship in the ocean, and they were helpless. The wind was so unruly, and there was water inside their ship, and their machine starts breaking, and there was a crack in the ship, water gushed in, and they were screaming for help in somewhere middle of the ocean. Who would help them? And in the storm, the ship got stuck, and each one, somehow they were thrown inside the ocean, and they caught some kind of logs of the ship, broken wreckage, and they found a tiny island in the ocean. They all swam to that ocean, to the island, and they took shelter of that island. A day, 2 days passed, 3 days passed, there was nothing to eat, and they were all simply screaming for help, and nobody could hear them. Then after some time, out of the 20 men, luckily no one drowned out of the 20. A man said, okay, how long we will be screaming for help? Now we have to take care of ourselves. Let us see if there is something available in island to eat. Let us gather some logs and put fire. Maybe we can make a shelter and we can stay underneath. And they started, roaming around, exploring the island, and they could find some berries to eat and some logs of wood. They made some shelter, and they were sleeping underneath, and days passed by. And they were all expecting someone from the mainland would notice them, locate them, save them, and they were all expecting and praying to gods, but there was no help. And slowly, when days passed by, they got accustomed to the situation. And this man who was guiding them turned to be a leader, was helping them, inspiring them, keeping them together. And this was going on. And finally, they made some shelter, and they were looking for their foods, and they got adjusted. Actually, they forgot that they will be meeting their family back again, and they will go back to the mainland. They forgot everything. And after many months, they could see a ship sailing closer by. And again, they got a ray of hope. So they all lit up some woods, and they were screaming and showing the light in the air, Then somebody noticed them, and the ship slowly sailed towards the island and saved them. And they were so happy. They never thought that they will meet their family back. They were so happy, jumping and all. But out of the 20 men, one was not very happy. He told, why we have to go back? We are very comfortable here. We are enjoying the facilities, and nobody to trouble us, and we are doing very well. But in the mainland, we have so many problems. Why don't we live here? When others were shocked, what is this man saying? We have to go back to our family. But he was telling, no, why? Everything is good here. And who's that person? The leader. In the last few months, he started enjoying the leadership. People were listening to him, obeying him, and all his words were, followed. That was satisfying his ego. So he didn't want to really go back. So he was telling, why? Let us stay here only. What's wrong with that? This is the material knowledge. The Gyan which Prabhu Krishna is speaking in the shloka. A knowledge should be very, very helpful in cutting the attachments of this material world. But most of the times, knowledge, what we acquire in this material world, is leading to further bondage. Even spiritualists, they face this challenge. When we have knowledge, ego, ahankar also starts growing with that knowledge. That is why you can see in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Bhagavatam, everywhere, you will have Chaturvedis, Trivedis, Digvijayi, Pandit, very scholarly people. They travel all the 8 directions and conquer people by knowledge. And the kings used to be scared of these people. They will come and very arrogantly, proudly declare, do you have anyone in your country who can defeat me in this particular Veda, Tarka, Nyaya Shastra, this, that? And the kings will ask, okay, is there anyone in our kingdom who can defeat this Pandit? And if they can't defeat them, that's all. The king has to give something in writing. We are defeated, you are great, whatever, blah, blah. And the Pandit will collect so many certificates from in all direction. And from that day, he will be known as Trivedi, Chaturvedi, expert in 4 Vedas, expert in 3 Vedas, Digvijayi Pandit, who has mastered and won all the directions. Even in Chaitanya Charitamrita, you can see so many characters coming. But Bhagavatam very beautifully says, knowledge means humility. A real knowledge should be decorated with humility. Then that knowledge is useful for this world. Otherwise, it just remains a useless knowledge, And many times, unfortunately, the knowledge comes with pride. Even for devotees like us, if you read some book and if you really, master that knowledge, then others don't know it, then some kind of pride comes. Some pride comes that I am great, I am best, So once, but at the same time, real knowledge is very sharp also. That's why Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Jnana Vijnana Sahitam. What is the perfect knowledge? It should have Jnana and it should have Vijnana. It should have theoretical knowledge as well as practical realized knowledge. That is very important. Jnana Vijnana Sahitam. When the theory and the practical, when both of them join, then it becomes realized knowledge. 3 students just finished their medical college, just finished their graduation, finished their education, and they came out. And they saw one man was like limping on the street and trying to walk, and he's limping. Then immediately all the 3 started, talking, and they were like arguing, debating. And one said, see, he has a knee problem because they've just finished their college education about health and medicine and everything. He has a knee problem, maybe arthritis. That's why he's limping. He couldn't carry his weight. And I'm sure that's arthritis. Then the next doctor said, no, that's not arthritis. That is a neuro problem. Because of the neuro problem, he's, like that, each doctor was experts and they were like explaining different branch of medicine. And they were saying, no, this person is limping only because of that. When they were arguing, debating, this limping man was coming closer and closer and closer. And when he was passing by, they asked, "Oh, great sir, my dear sir, why are you limping?" And the other is, "I'm sure you have arthritis, right?" And the second one said, "No, no, you have neuro problem, right?" And the third one said something else. "This is this thing." And that man smilingly said, "No, no, 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 nothing of that sort. My shoe broke, my chappal broke, so I'm not able to pull it. I'm pulling it, That's the reason he was limping. It's like this analogy is given. People, they don't have realized knowledge. We don't have realized knowledge. That is why we have to humbly follow acharyas. And Krishna says, the Purana says, Acharya has all the knowledge in his heart secretly. And by serving him, we will get that secret knowledge outside. It is said, some portion is there in the scriptures, and some portion is there in the Acharya's heart. By worshipping an Acharya, we will get all the purports from his heart. Because Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, and all the scriptures has got some portion of the knowledge. Some Krishna has kept secretly in the Acharya's heart. And there is a verse, I forgot that verse, by sincerely worshipping an Acharya, Guru, the knowledge from the heart, it reveals. Because some knowledge he has kept secretly in Acharya's heart. And only through humility we can understand that. So once when an astrologer, an expert astrologer who came, there was a very upstart, unruly and arrogant students. So one man was holding a small chick, and he was holding the chicken's neck by his fingers and keeping under his shirt, holding the neck. And he was asking, "Can you tell me, the chicken which I'm holding under my shirt, is it alive or dead?" If the astrologer says, if the Pandit says alive, he will kill that under the shirt and he will show, no, it's dead. And if the Pandit says, if it is dead, then he will bring it alive. This is his idea, holding the neck and hiding it inside his garment. "Can you tell me that chicken in my hand is alive or dead?" Then the Pandit very deeply meditated for some time and he understood the intention of this man. Then he smilingly said, "The chicken's life is in your hands." He said that. Real Gyanis, they are very mature. They can simply cut the Hridaya Granthis. Even in Bhagavatam, you can come across the story where Shamba in Dwaraka, he dressed himself like a woman and, wearing a sari and, like a pregnant lady. And when great sages, when they have come to Dwaraka, Samba went and all the boys and Yadus, they all went very arrogant because then, Yadus are very powerful on earth. There is no army in this world which can check them, stop them. Very arrogant and proud. So they went and asked the great sages, "See, this lady is pregnant. What baby she will deliver, boy or girl?" And the sages understood this arrogance will finish them. They are too arrogant. So the sages cursed them, saying that he will deliver an iron log and the iron log will finish your whole clan, dynasty, Yadu dynasty. But unfortunately, knowledge comes with pride. We can see so many characters from Bhagavad, Mahabharat, and Vishwamitra was very proud about his knowledge. Many. But the real knowledge comes with humility. Once Vishwamitra was crossing a village, going through a village, and he has just defeated so many scholars, so many pundits he has just defeated. And he was crossing through the village and he was feeling very thirsty. Then he saw a lady was drawing water from the well in the middle of the village. So he was feeling thirsty and he went and asked her, water, can you give me some water to drink? And the lady said, yes, why not? And she started giving water. And meanwhile, lady asked, who are you? I've never seen you in this area. Are you new to this village? Who are you? Can you reveal yourself? Then Vishwamitra thought, what this simple village lady will know about me? You know? And he didn't bother that to explain to her. So he simply said, I'm just a traveler. I'm just a traveler. And the lady said, there are only two travelers in this world. You know, one is sun and another is moon. They are the only travelers in this world and they keep traveling. And Vishwamitra was like taken aback. Wow, this lady is answering so amazingly. Then still she asked, you have not yet answered me. Who are you? Then Vishwamitra said, I'm a guest in this village. Then the lady said, there are only two guests in this world. One is youth and the second is wealth. Only they are the two guests. We all have youth and wealth and they will come with us and one day they will leave us. Youth and wealth are the guests. Then Vishwamitra was like, this lady is trying to insult me or showing off, you know. Then again she asked, who are you? You know, then he said, I'm not going to answer. And he remained very stubborn, adamant, I won't answer. Then the lady said, nobody can defeat hair and nail in stubbornness. Nobody can defeat. Because how much ever you cut them, they keep growing again and again and again. They're so adamant and stubborn. Then he said, no, I am very tolerant. Your words cannot penetrate me, irritate me. I'm not going to open my mouth. Then the lady said, only tree and Mother Earth are very, very tolerant in this world. How much ever you trouble them, they accept all the troubles and give fruits back to us. They are the most tolerant ones. Then Vishwamitra became very angry and he said, no, I am a fool, I am a fool, I am a fool. Then the lady said, only a man who identifies himself with body is a fool. Then Vishwamitra paid his obeisances and asked, who are you? Why are you testing me like this? And that was Mother Saraswati. She appeared in front of Vishwamitra and said, knowledge becomes beautiful when you are humble. If you are not humble, knowledge just becomes a crown made of thorns. Knowledge becomes beautiful only when you are humble. There is a beautiful incident in Chaitanya Charitamrita also that Vallabhacharya, he met Lord Chaitanya earlier in Vrindavan. And Lord Chaitanya was very affectionate, very good to him and spoke nicely and things like that. And Vallabhacharya spoke so many shlokas, explained so many things. And Lord Chaitanya patiently heard him, smiled him, encouraged him, appreciated, even took meal with Vallabhacharya. Then after some time, Lord Chaitanya met same Vallabhacharya in Jagannath Puri. So at that time, Vallabhacharya has written some explanations for Bhagavatam. So he was taking that around and reading to devotees and showing off to Lord Chaitanya and this, but Lord Chaitanya was not paying so much attention. So he was trying to go and impress each and every devotee, please listen to my explanation. I will do this, I will do that. He explained from different angles and devotees, because Lord Chaitanya did not pay much attention. The devotees also didn't pay much attention. But he was going on, but he caught Srivas Thakur. But Srivas Thakur was such an innocent, humble devotee. He patiently started listening to all the explanation of Vallabhacharya. So sometimes devotees were a little angry with Srivas Thakur also. Lord Chaitanya personally avoided Vallabhacharya, but you are sitting and listening to him. And they were a little upset with him. And Vallabhacharya went on explaining, and in one point he said, I have even defeated Sridhara Swami's explanation. My explanations are better than Sridhara's. When Lord Chaitanya came to know this, Mahaprabhu became very angry and upset with him. And Lord Chaitanya said, Swami Nanu Sridhara. Sridhara is my master. Lord Chaitanya completely accepted Sridhara Swami's explanation. Then Vallabhacharya understood it very later. So Vallabhacharya was arrogant in between, and he was proud about his explanation. And Lord Chaitanya simply avoided it. If our explanation, if our knowledge may be perfect, but still, if it carries pride, Lord is not going to accept. Our explanations may have mistakes, but if we are humble, Lord is going to accept us. A humble, imperfect knowledge is far, far better than perfect, proud knowledge. And Lord Chaitanya proved it through many, many pastimes. Another incident that happened in Lord Chaitanya's time also, as well as Ramanujacharya's time also. When Ramanujacharya or Lord Chaitanya, when they were passing by, same incident happened in both places. They could see a man was holding Bhagavad Gita upside down and simply crying. He was illiterate. He has never gone to school, never read. He doesn't know Sanskrit. Simply holding the book upside down and crying. And all the devotee, means like the scholars were laughing, what does this fool can do? He doesn't even know to hold a Bhagavad Gita. And he doesn't know Sanskrit. And he's simply going to cry, They all mocked and laughed at him. And the Lord Chaitanya, even Ramanuja also this happened. They went and asked, what are you doing? And he said, I don't know to read Bhagavad Gita. Okay, that's fine, but why are you crying? I just saw the cover picture. Then I saw Krishna is riding chariot for Arjuna. And I'm thinking how fortunate Arjuna is. And how glorious Lord is just for the sake of his devotee in the battlefield. Like a servant, Lord is riding chariot and helping Arjuna in case serving, Arjuna. And I'm trying to realize what kind of devotion would Arjuna have so that Lord is doing this for him. And I simply can't control myself. I'm moved by this pastime. And he started crying. Lord Chaitanya said, you have understood Bhagavad Gita very well than any of these pandits. He's not a scholar, but he was very humble. So knowledge will be decorated only with humility. And in this particular shloka of Bhagavad Gita, Prabhupada Krishna says, and this particular person who practiced this realized knowledge will be experiencing the joy within. When they start experiencing the transcendental joy, they don't care about this outside world. Like Jadabharata. Jadabharata, who spoke to Rahaguna, who converted the whole kingdom into spiritualists. But he was once upon a time, he was acting like a jata, like a fool, purposely. If I do anything proper, and if the world recognizes me, and that could be a trap, I will be trapped inside this material world, this pride and this. So purposely he was acting like fool. On the other hand, We are actually fools and we act as though we know everything. But here, a man who knows everything but acting like a fool, Jata, he will not do anything proper purposely. Even his own family members started hating him. Brothers were hating him. Somehow they wanted to get rid of him, throw him away. He was acting purposely like Jata. Then they sent him to jungle, and that story where all the the tribal people, Kali worshippers, kidnapped him. They took him, they bathed him, they put him on the stone, they're about to chop him off. There was so much of insult, even threat to his life. But Jataparata remained very calm because deep within he knows, he realized, I am not this body and I am soul. Everything happens by the will of Krishna. We are nothing. We are just instruments, toys in the hands of material nature. And Jataparata has realized it. We may be speaking about it every day, reading about it, but we are not realized. Jataparata realized that. That's why when they came with the axe to chop him, he was very calm, very peaceful. Then Kali broke, the deity broke, and Kali came out. And there was a ghastly warfare right in front of him. Kali killed all the priests, drank their blood through their head. And Jataparata was simply watching it. And that incident also didn't affect him. He very calmly walked away. This is a real knowledge. So real knowledge brings surrender. Real knowledge brings fearlessness. Real knowledge develops complete freedom in this material world. Rest is all imperfect knowledge. It brings fearlessness, it severes our attachment, it helps us to develop faith in Krishna. So Prabhupada mercifully has given us this great, glorious opportunity in this movement. And all my pranams to all the assembled Vaishnavas and Matajis, and with all respects, please forgive if there was any mistakes in the talk. And thank you so much for this opportunity. Hare Krishna, thank you so much.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna.
Does anyone? Oh, yes. Guru Gaurav Prabhu has a question for you. Please unmute and ask.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Pranam.
Hare Krishna, pranam.
Thank you very much for giving such a nice class.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you.
If I'm correct, in the beginning you said that this knowledge is the only way to liberation.
Yes, knowledge
is the only way to liberation.
Yes.
But bhakti, I think, is better than ultimately you go to bhakti from the knowledge.
Yes.
Otherwise, you will lead to your Brahma Jyoti or somewhere Vaikuntha Lok only. And
yes.
That is there.
Yeah.
I'm correct. I don't know.
Yes, Prabhuji, you are 100% correct. But in the purport here, Prabhupada is very clearly saying knowledge means transcendental knowledge. The real knowledge is Bahunam Janmanam Ante Gyanavan Mam Prapadyate Vasudeva Sarvamiti. That knowledge which makes us realize that Krishna is everything, Krishna is ultimate, is the transcendental knowledge. So you are perfectly right, Prabhuji. Correct.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Anyone else have any questions or comments to make? Okay, Ravi Prabhu has a question. Please unmute and ask.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Prabhuji, I have a doubt
Yeah.
regarding what you said. We know that usually in this material world, even though we have books for a specific subject, still we approach a guru
Yeah.
to receive actual knowledge. But in this in spiritual matters, even though we have unrestricted access to many books, spiritual books, our access to our guru is very limited. So how can we endorse that problem? So how can we personally render service to our guru and accept knowledge from him?
Yeah. So sometimes access to Diksha Guru is limited in this organization because some gurus have many, many disciples, but some gurus have very less disciples. But we always have, this is a beautiful family. This organization is not like olden days where they have one guru and some few disciples and they're secluded in ashram. Our family is knitted so nicely that we have so many Siksha gurus, very highly matured, realized and pure, many Siksha gurus, you know. So it is never a problem to get a right answer when we approach, a couple of Siksha gurus, and ask them. They're always there to help. This is a beautiful family. Father may be one, but we have so many brothers, many uncles, many nephews, and many cousins, and so many people. So whenever there is a need, Krishna, if we are very truthful to Krishna, Krishna will send the help, and you will see somebody coming and helping you with an answer. Sometimes in the Bhagavatam class, you get an answer. Sometimes when you read the book personally, suddenly answer pops up, and there is a lot of facility. And when we see our Diksha Guru, then we try to serve them and all, and that's how the family goes, So we don't have to worry that I don't have my Diksha Guru all the time to help me and things like that. We don't have to worry about that. Is that clear, Prabhuji?
Thank you, Prabhuji, for your answer.
Thank you. So,
Anything else from anybody? All right. Thank you very much, Prabhu.
Thank you, Mataji. Yeah, thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.